In this video, I'm gonna be asking two AIs to design me a rocket that will be able to reach an orbit around Kerbin without using a lot of fuel. The AI that uses the least amount of fuel wins the challenge. I'm gonna start off with ChatGPT because that's what all the hype is about, so let's see if it does any better than DeepSeek. So let's start by going into our vehicle assembly building. Here is the list of stages that ChatGPT gave me. I'm gonna start with the lower stage and then go to the upper and command stage. So here we have the lower stage, which is completely finished. I'm just looking at the script right now to begin the second stage. But yeah, it looks pretty solid for now. But I am afraid about that efficiency. I don't think it understood me too good because right now we have almost 5,000 delta V, which is more than enough to get into a Kerbal orbit. But I'm gonna build the rocket and see how ChatGPT does. Okay, so here we have the finished rocket from ChatGPT. The delta V is more than enough, however, I am afraid that it's going to fall over as we reach higher speeds because of you have big tanks and then smaller. I am afraid it's gonna topple over, but let's see what happens. Okay, before we launch, I want to make sure the stages are correct, and they seem to be, so let's launch. So you can see the rocket starting to roll. It was because I forgot to change my keybinds, so instead of playing on QWERTY, I was playing on SRT. I'm just going to revert. There is no point in saying this, but I do promise I won't make such dumb mistakes anymore. I promise. I just realized I forgot the community drum. But luckily we weren't too far, so you can just revert. Okay, so that was the one thing that I forgot, and that was a simple, basic communotron. Remember, this is a very basic rocket. It's supposed to be efficient. I know it has a lot of fuel, but yeah, it's what the AI gave me. I can't judge until the mission has been complete. Third time's a charm, so hopefully nothing goes wrong this time. So I'm gonna start turning and it flipped over, so I'm just gonna let it continue doing its own thing. I'm gonna wait until we're higher up in the sky so that we have more chance of it being stable, because I think if you go, if it doesn't have enough speed, it won't be as stable. But hopefully, it will work this time. So I'm just gonna time warp because this is painfully slow, and I'm not touching anything right now. So I think it may be the rocket design. Yeah, I'm gonna have to add a reaction wheel. But other than that, I think the rocket will work. I think I only need a reaction wheel. For the rest, I don't think there are any problems. I don't know why I was so stubborn on saying the rocket. Yeah. So as we can see, it's not looking good for ChatGPT. Its own design is starting to flip over when we reach speeds of 500 kilometers. I'm just gonna add a reaction wheel to see if the rocket even... the rocket will definitely reach orbit, but just for the video, I'm just gonna make it to orbit, and then I'm gonna continue on to DeepSeek. At first I thought it was because of the fairing, the engine not being the same width as the rocket fuel, but then I later realized I should have just added a reaction wheel. So I have finished adding the reaction wheel. Hopefully nothing goes wrong right now. Fourth time's the charm. I'm just gonna skip this because I'm just fixing my stages and launching, which you have already seen 3 times, and it's getting boring. Otherwise this will be a 1 hour long video, so enjoy. So after I have reached sufficient speed and height, I'm waiting to reach just beneath my highest point to start burning. The unfortunate thing about this is I didn't get a bot, so I can't use my stability SAS very efficiently, only to stabilize. I can't use prograde, retrograde, or maneuver mode, so I'm gonna all have to do that manually. Okay, so we have successfully reached orbit with only the booster stage. I completely forgot to decouple it, but it doesn't matter because we have already reached orbit. And I also said earlier in the video that we have way too much delta V. I said 5,000, but I didn't completely finish. I meant 10,000. We don't even need the second stage. The first stage would have just bringing us to orbit. So I'm just gonna try to make the orbit circular, and then I'm gonna move on to DeepSeek. Okay, so we have finished circularizing our orbit at around 300,000 kilometers in the sky. I would say this is a success, but we just have way too much delta V. I'm gonna run some experiments that we do not need, but I'm gonna transmit them anyway. Otherwise, the antenna would have been for nothing. But I would say that this is successful. Moving on to DeepSeek. So DeepSeek gave us a two-stage rocket. Here's the script: a booster stage and a circularization stage. This time we do get a pod which is going to help a lot with the orbit and circularization. I also thought that it would look cool if I made this rocket white, so that's what I did. It also said I could add scientific equipment, which I did, but it did say it was optional. The reason why I said it optional, it's because it's gonna cost a lot less, and I think it understood the challenge better than ChatGPT. I also decided to add a reaction wheel without telling it, because ChatGPT also didn't say to do it, but I'm just gonna do it just in case if the rocket does stumble over, I don't have to keep reverting. So here we have the finished rocket. I must say it looks a lot better than that of ChatGPT and is actually fuel efficient. It doesn't have a lot of delta V, which is one of the criteria. And let's start. Hopefully we don't have to keep reverting. I was gonna use the last of my main stage rockets, but then I remembered that DeepSeek specifically told me to not do that and just use the second stage, which is for orbit, which also hints at that it's also using realistic aspects. I also forgot to go prograde, but at least I saw it and fixed. So now I'm just gonna wait to circleize, and I hope we have enough fuel, but I think we do. Okay, so I was wrong. We did have enough fuel to get into orbit and even fix and circularize our orbit. I'm gonna circularize it to make it the same as that of ChatGPT at around 300,000 kilometers. And after that, we're gonna compare the two rockets and see which one has the least amount of fuel left. After further circularization of the orbit, the results are clear. Chat DeepSeek is left with almost no delta V, which is actually part of the challenge, while ChatGPT almost has 4,000 delta V left. Based on efficiency alone, I think it's safe to say that DeepSeek wins this round. I put the rockets in comparisons, and based on design, I think DeepSeek has a better design. So I think what happened with ChatGPT is it thought that I want to get into a high kerbal orbit. The delta V was still way too much for that. Maybe I should have been more specific, but anyways, if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. It would help me a lot, because in the next video, I'm gonna compare these two again with a moon mission. The biggest planet ever discovered is called TRES-4b. This is the comparison between Jupiter and the biggest planet we have discovered yet.